Welcome to our Wednesday meditation service. Tonight we're going to start the service with 10 minutes of doing Satanama. I have a handout right here. It's the same one that's at the front desk if you got that. But if you do this every day for like 12 minutes, it will change your life. And you can do more minutes if you want, 20, but a mudra is a symbolic hand gesture used in Hindu Buddhism ceremonies and an Indian dance on a movement or pose in yoga. Each time you close a mudra, by joining the thumb with a finger, your ego seals its effect in your consciousness. Visualize or feel each individual sound coming in the crown chakra at the top of the head, down to the middle of the head, and out to infinity through the third eye on the forehead. This is very important and must be done with each sound. It is an essential part of the cleansing process. Sa is the beginning. Ta is life. Na is death. Ma is rebirth. So, Sata Nama 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 Satanama 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 Satanama, 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 Satanama. Satanama. Satanama.
Good evening, everyone. Back a couple of years, there was a very popular tune, a song titled, "I Want to Know Where Love Is. I Want to Know What Love Is." And spoke to a lady who is living in the enlightened state of awareness. Spoke to her on the phone tonight. I speak to her every couple of weeks. And she travels around just by intuition. She's guided by the divine intelligence in which she lives, and just goes wherever that intelligence tells her to go. And when she gets to these places in some state somewhere in the United States, there's always some service that needs to be performed, and she fills in to do it. So when I ask her where she is, when she calls, because I never know what state she may be in, she said, I'm not sure if I'm in Arizona or New Mexico, but one thing is for sure, I'm still in God. And she uses that as a definition of where she is. I'm in God. And there's no place that she can go where she is not in God. And she is filled with this energy and love that you sense whenever she talks. And that is the goal. Now, not many of us in the Western culture will live a life of what in the East they refer to as a sadhu. A sadhu is one who just travels from place to place, takes what that place has to offer, and bestows blessings and service while there, and receives whatever that place gives or offers. But the sadhu just keeps traveling, is always serving God wherever he or she finds herself. Not many of us in the Western culture are going to take up that kind of dharma, that lifestyle. But we can still have that enlightened awareness in which we live and move. Even though we may be carrying on a very mundane type of job or work or profession every day. We may be involved in raising a family, or we may be involved in building a business, or we may be involved in attending a university or going, to learn something from, in music. But we can do it in the consciousness of God. And most of us in the Western culture, before we have a fair amount of practice of the presence of God, which is what we do, that's our yoga. We practice the presence of God. It's a very conscious, determined effort we make to become more God conscious until we are, until it is no longer a conscious effort, that we so enjoy being in the consciousness divine that we no longer have to make special efforts to remember, to practice the presence. So that brings us back to the basic truth of life. There's really two major definitions of life, only two. One is the definition of duality, and the other is the definition of oneness. In the definition of duality, we are born and we are raised, usually by people who have never questioned the definition of duality and live in duality themselves. It's a rare person whose parents have an understanding or an expansion into the awareness divine. So we all grow up, and it's a right thing to do, because we grow up, we learn body consciousness, which is derived from the situation that life appears to be a duality. We enter life and it looks to us that there is my life in this physical, personal body, and then there is all the other life forms and conditions and circumstances that are not a part of what I am. And that's strictly the body consciousness that, operates in the duality of awareness. And so, for a long time, we learn to negotiate, operate, and carry on our lives in duality. And a lot of it has to do with defense. We have little defense mechanisms that we develop in order to kind of save ourselves from being, embarrassed or hurt in some way. And it has a lot to do with fear. A lot as we grow up and become young adults in the duality, we have a fear of, will we be able to make it in life, get the right profession? Will we please our parents? Will we have enough money to pay our rent? Will I be able to ever get that car that I would love to have and drive around, or the house? And the thoughts of not getting it are filled with concern, and then there's always concerns about one's health or about one's relationships. So the whole thing that takes place in the initial state of consciousness, based on duality, is fear-oriented. And that's never going to be comfortable. No matter how many cars you do finally manage to get, no matter how important the career you manage to get into, no matter how big houses you have or villas, it's not going to change that. Because you're always going to be defining yourself as separate. And in that illusionary state, you don't have any understanding, any relationship, any awareness of the divine that gives you life and breath. You don't have any awareness of that. So you're always in a situation where everything you thought you had and gained can be lost. And so you're never going to have that peace of mind that transcends the fear of the world. So I think the objective of life is for us to awaken to the fact that this is so. We come to a recognition that, living out of concern and fear and worry, and making whatever gains we make or whatever losses we experience, it doesn't seem to fulfill us. And this is why. Because you are not strictly a separate physical body. You are a divine soul. And no matter how you may go on in life, it'll always be inside you this little whisper that you are divine in origin. You are part of the Creator that is divine. Your life will have great meaning for you, great joy for you, great love when you release the concerns that come with the illusion of being separate. And that's all spiritual journeys are all about. No matter where you go or who you study with, whatever guru you're seeking, if they're worth their weight in the sarong that they wear, they're going to explain to you the necessity to take to task your own awareness and to practice divine consciousness. And in doing so, you are fulfilling what the great parable in the Bible says. You are fulfilling what that prodigal son who left his father and thought he could make it on his own, took his belongings, took his inheritance, and went off on his own to a distant country where he thought he could make it and make it work. And that's just a parable about human experience. That's what we are doing here. In the initial state of consciousness, we're all the prodigal son, thinking that somehow or other, through our own consciousness, our intellectual prowess, our connections, we are going to be able to make life in the material world work for my personal desires, my personal dictates, my personal demands. And when that happens, I will then be free and have peace of mind. Nobody has ever followed that path and made it. Not any of the movie stars who you adulate, not any of the big shot politicians or speakers, not any of the huge evangelical ministers that follow making a lot of money in their ministry, none of them, and they don't ever get to this place where your soul is seeking the consciousness of God, to be one with the guiding love and consciousness of God. And that's what you're doing here tonight. You came here because this is a meditation service. And maybe you've come here before and you've received some inspiration. And so I hope that the inspiration continues. I'm still hoping that some night our first billionaire will drive up and show up. When that happens, that's fine. And if it doesn't happen, it'll be fine anyway. It's always been fine. I've been here a long time. It's all been fine. The other day in our group discussion following the Sunday 9 a.m. service, where people have an opportunity to discuss what was said, to bring up what they think, what they feel. And we are presently studying the Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz, a very excellent book in helping to train the awareness, take the awareness into that higher state of consciousness. And while we were sitting in the group, one of the agreements, one of the four agreements is it went right out of my head just now. It's don't make assumptions. Don't make assumptions. That's just an act of an ego-centered, illusion-driven mind. But someone in the group said, isn't it an assumption that we are all one, interconnected? Isn't that an assumption? And I said, no, it's a fact that we are all one, interconnected, part of this grand intelligence, is a fact. It is a fact that is testified to by the masters all down through the ages. You can't find a master worth his weight in toothpicks that doesn't say that. And so I'm going to share a couple of things with you from the master of masters, what he said. And he said it in many ways, but it's said here very beautifully. This is from the Gospel of John, chapter 15. You don't need a lot of metaphysical study to catch the truth of this. This is chapter 15, starting with verse 1. I am the true life. I am the tree, and my Father is one with me. Every branch of mine that bears no fruit, he takes away. And every branch that does bear fruit, he prunes, that it may bear more fruit. You are already made clean by the word which I have spoken for you. Abide in me, and I in you. As the branch cannot bear fruit by itself unless it abides in the tree, neither can you unless you abide in me. I am the tree, you are the branches. He who abides in me, and I in him, he it is that bears much fruit. For apart from me, you can do nothing. So, how many people ran away from this? I mean, maybe they went to Sunday school for a while and then who can understand any of this stuff? But I think you're sitting here tonight. There's no way you cannot understand what I just read. You know that this, if you're still thinking historically only, which means you're thinking in terms of time and space and divisions yet, it's okay, then you must know that this carpenter's son also said, my words will never go away. My teachings will never go away. Heaven and earth could pass away, but my teachings will never go away. And here they are. Why? Because they're universal in scope. They are here by divine appointment. They are here on a divine mission to help people awaken to the reality of their oneness with everything that lives. And upon awakening to that, there comes the joy, the love, the peace, that we are all seeking. So he speaks in that symbolic terms as being the tree of true life. And the branch cannot exist separate from that tree. The branch may start off thinking of itself as being a separate individual, just as we all do, but this is a symbolic formula. And it can actually try to make it on its own. It can go through many hoops and travel as far as it can and to do whatever it can to try to make the world of material consciousness successful in relating to his own, her own desires, her own expectations, her own dictates, her own demands. The mind ever trying to contemplate, to make the future work better. It seems like more money would do it. It seems like more popularity. It seems like my next relationship, I've found the right person. And on and on and on and on. All of that is part of what we go through and live, but wouldn't you like to live through that in the enlightened awareness? And the only way into the enlightened awareness is to rise above the illusions that come to us through the duality of the mind and consciousness. So we all start off in the world with that limited definition of self. And we have to come to the realization that life doesn't really work that way. It doesn't work in the illusion of separation. No one can attain anything to whatever degree they're seeking to attain it that's going to free them from the fear of the world as being a separate body, vulnerable to all kinds of changing tides and circumstances. So the fear will always be there, and the fear drives people to insane ends, but that's what they do, and they have to do that until they realize it's not going to play out in accordance with what I wanted. So we also have, down through the ages, and this truth has been around forever, from the beginning of time. You can see it in the book of Acts. It's here. This is like 2,000 years ago. Paul the Apostle was saying this to the Greeks. This is in the book of Acts, chapter 17, verses 26 to 28. And he, God, made from one every nation of man to live on all the face of the earth. In other words, he made it from one. Everything that lives on the face of the earth. Having determined the allotted periods and the boundaries of their habitation, that they should seek God in the hope that they might feel after him and find him. Yet he is not far from each one of us, for in him we live and move and have our being, as even some of your poets have said, for we are indeed his offspring. That's 2,000 years ago, saying exactly what I'm saying tonight. Here it is again. And he, God, made from one every nation of man to live on all the face of the earth, having determined allotted periods and the boundaries of their habitations, that they should seek God in the hope that they might feel after him and find him. Yet he is not far from each one of us, for in him we live and move and have our being, as even some of your poets have said, for we are indeed his offspring. The tree which is in this illustration that we're using is our omnipresent Creator, waiting for its branches to live in love and harmony with one another, which is the essential nature of God, who is the tree of life. Okay, it comes down to the two great commandments, that you should love God with all your heart, with all your mind, with all your strength. And the second one is like it. This is the Master's words. He said, my words aren't going to go away. So you might as well take them in. And the second one is like it. Love your neighbor as yourself. But when you get right down to it, what all this means is that everything you look upon is God. How you look upon it and the thoughts you hold about it determine how you are going to experience it. So you're reaping what you sow. If you're holding negative, limited ideas about this person, those conditions, you're just filled with this fear of that thing or that problem, your life is going to be that related to you. But if you transcend the thinking of duality and the illusion of being a separate ego in a world of separate others, if you transcend that and you just find that sublime space where you realize, and you can make believe and do this. Suppose you got up tomorrow morning and you just wanted to try something new. And you said, today, no matter what happens, I'm going to look upon everyone and everything as being sacred, as part of God. So whatever fears or limited thoughts that I may have held before, today I'm just going to let that all go. Today I'm going to treat everything and look upon everything as being God, even though its form and its expression may not be fully what God's nature is, but I am going to bestow blessings upon it as the nature of God would have me do. I will see everything today as sacred and worthy of my consideration, my forgiveness, my peace, my service, and my love. That's all of religion, by the way. That's all there is. I mean, the rest of it is pomp and circumstances and big buildings and cathedrals and pomp. And I don't know, whatever it is they do, that must work to some degree to help people, and that's fine. If it helps people wherever they happen to be in consciousness, I'm all for it. But if you want to find the life truly worth living, you're listening to these truths that call your consciousness to align itself with the nature of God. So, A Course in Miracles will put it pretty clearly in detail. A Course in Miracles on text 163. Of course, you can turn to any page in A Course in Miracles and read similar stuff. God's will is your salvation. Would he have not given you the means to find it? If he wills you have it, he must have made it possible and easy to obtain. Your brothers and sisters are everywhere. You do not have to seek far for salvation. Every minute and every second gives you a chance to save yourself. Do not lose these chances, not because they will not return, but because delay of joy is needless. God wills you perfect happiness now. Is it possible that this is not also your will? And is it possible that this is not also the will of your brothers and sisters? Consider then that in this joint will you are all united, and in this only. There may be disagreement on anything else, but not on this. This then is where peace abides. And you abide in peace when you so decide. Yet you cannot abide in peace unless you accept the at-one-ment, because the at-one-ment is the way to peace. At-one-ment is specifically the Course in Miracles term, its terminology. The entire texts and workbook of A Course in Miracles is all about bringing people to accept the reality of at-one-ment. Just as I said, tomorrow wake up and look upon everything as sacred. That's looking upon everything as part of you. And then you fulfill the one commandment, do unto others what you would have them do unto you. So you fulfill it, because whatever you'd like to have done to you, do so to those outside of you. And then come to realize they are not outside of you. They are part of this intelligence. They share in the intelligence that we call God. Here's an interesting thought. If we want to know the cause of all evil in life, it stems from the unawakened mind of the branch which blames itself and others for the failure of its personal ego to make life fit its personal point of view. I'll share that again. If we want to know the cause of all evil in life, it stems from the unawakened minds, the unawakened branches, which blame themselves and others for the failure of its personal ego to make life fit its personal point of view. Let me try to give an illustration that explains how impossible that is, to make life fit one's personal point of view. Admiral William Nemitzer on the battleship Missouri was traveling at night through the ocean, and then on the radar became aware of another vessel coming the other way. And so he radioed to the other vessel and he said, "Captain, you will alter your course 20 degrees port." And then the voice came through to him, Admiral William Nemitzer, "No, sir, you will alter your course 20 degrees starboard." And then the Admiral said, "Sir, this is Admiral William Nemitzer aboard the destroyer Missouri, and I am telling you, you are going to alter your course 20 degrees port, or you will find more trouble than you can handle." And then the voice came back and said, "Admiral, you will alter your course 20 degrees starboard, or you will find more trouble than you can handle. This is the Puget Sound Lighthouse." That might stay with you, how the truth doesn't change. Illusions have to be believed. They have to be continually supported. But they cannot change the truth. It is what it is. And then we, personally, alter our own course to align with the truth, the nature of God, And then when we do that, we find life truly worth living. So I'll read this last. This is from the book, The New Earth, by Eckhart Tolle. This is on page 106, paragraph 3. It has been said, God is love. But that is not absolutely correct. God is the one life in and beyond the countless forms of life. Love implies duality, lover and beloved, subject and object. So love is the recognition, true love is the recognition of oneness in the world of duality. This is the birth of God into the world of form. Love makes the world less worldly, less dense, more transparent to the divine dimension, the light of consciousness itself. Well, you don't have to try to memorize this. You know, you can go online. This is being recorded, being watched live stream. And you can find this talk tonight on YouTube. Just type in Unity Church, and then you can type in Jack Groveland, and you'll get this. It has been said, God is love, but that is not absolutely correct. God is the one life in and beyond the countless forms of life. Love implies duality, lover and beloved, subject and object. So love is the recognition, true love, is the recognition of oneness in the world of duality. This is the birth of God into the world of form. Love makes the world less worldly, less dense, more transparent to the divine dimension. It is the light of consciousness itself. We're going to take a few minutes to meditate together. You can begin by taking a couple of deep breaths. As you release the breath, release any cares or concerns that you might be carrying with you. Those cares and concerns can dissipate in a moment if you let go and just let this moment be what it is. So just gently give your attention to being present in this moment, wanting nothing, fearing nothing, judging nothing, resisting nothing, allowing this moment just to be. And you may want to take this mantra gently into your awareness, using the name of God, which is I am, the name Jesus used, the miracle-creating name of God, because it represents the oneness of God. I am in you. You are in me. I am the way of true life. I am the one in all, and the all in one. Be still and know that I am God. I am in you, you are in me. I am the way, the truth, and the life. I am the one in all, and the all in one. Be still and know that I am God. I am in you, you are in me. I am the way, the truth, and the life. I am the one in all, and the all in one. Be still and know that I am the only God. In this refined state of awareness, we will offer the names of those that have been submitted to our prayer list. As Norma calls the name, just continue to realize the oneness of God in all.
Aunt Lillian, Margaret, Gertie, those suffering in silence, Jidake Leche, undocumented immigrants, Wendy Hurdy, Jamie Hilborn, Max and Mother, Sebastian, Michael and Elaine Knutke, Eva, Darren, Leo, Andrea, Wilma and Carl, Megan, Christina Pacheco, Esther Les, David and Layla Naranjo, Tony Smith, Nick family, Morgan family, Tim, Jeannie, Bob and family, Wayne, Quinn, Brandon, Nick, Ruth, Lisa, Michelle, Saul, Celeste, Stanley, Joey, Gary, Brad, Steve H., Sue, Steve R., Women of the World, Brittany and Phoenix, the Woods family, Don Morris, Judy, Joff and Bonnie Eckhart, Don Norris, Amy Howe, Alice and Rodney Howe, Zeke Howe, Sandy Spahn, Pat Johnson, Carol Selby, Cynthia Akin, Diane Bentinos, Mardia Edwood, Sharon, Heather Lawton, Teresa Andrzejczyk Rolandatas, Luengo Milgore, Rigpa Litjoy, Carol Ann Litjoy, Baby June, Laura, Phyllis Naranjo, Annie and family, Becky, Clara, Mark, Cynthia, Kyle and Brandon, Jackson and Yuma, Rocky, Amanda, Our Country, Tony Smith, Knick family, Morgan family, Vaughn, Billy, Mariku, Olivia, Henry, John, Jenny, Rhodes, Tell You, Pray, Jeremy Brown and Dad, the Brown family, Brett Griffin, Jill Greenwood, Luke and Dinta, Brian Keith Barrett, Shannon Basha Parrott, Kati Parrott, Tom, Kathy, Joe. And you can call out a name at this time if you would like to do so.
Robert Learman, D. Matthew and family, D. L. and family, S. Casey and family, Jack M., Diane M.
You see this healing light surrounding the prayer box and all the people's names that have been submitted throughout the month. We see them healed physically, mentally, and spiritually.
Let us take a moment now to enter the divine vision of the new heaven in earth, recognizing the pristine consciousness of love, rising in the awareness of everyone sharing this Boulder community with us. And this awareness of divine love, rising in the consciousness of everyone sharing the state of Colorado with us. And this new awareness spreading to everyone sharing these United States of America with us. And they continuing to inspire, share, and heal everyone in every nation, in every culture, in every race, bringing forth the harmony and peace, the love that brings about the wisdom of life for everyone, for all creatures and all life forms, as we pray. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and God is love. To this we say, Amen. We will take an offering for unity now. And as we're preparing to do this, I'd like to invite all of you that are watching this live stream on our website. You can scroll to that place that says donate. It will give you the different ways you can donate to Unity of Boulder. And I would suggest you do that. Make a donation to Unity of Boulder. You're tuning in because you're seeking the truth that will open your life to the reality of God in every person, in every place, in every condition. Make yourself a part of that by supporting it with your tithes. And everyone here can bring into their hands that gift they'd like to make to Unity of Boulder. And let's bless that gift with this offering prayer. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive, because I give. And so it is.
There is so much love around us. If we just open up our heart, it's waiting to come in. It's waiting to come in. There is so much love around us. If we just open up our heart, it's waiting to come in. It's waiting to come in now.
Join me now, please. We dedicate this tithe to the will and the work of the Spirit of truth, the Spirit available to each of us, the Spirit that joins all of us. We dedicate this tithe to the victory of the Spirit of truth. Amen. So we have in our bookstore tea and cookies for anyone who'd like to stay and chat. I invite you to join us at the 9 a.m. service on Sunday, where you'll have a chance to discuss with everyone there in a circle whatever it is you're seeking, whatever it is you may not fully understand. or what experiences you're going through. So that's available at 9 a.m. service on Sunday. It's actually available also at the 11 o'clock. Cintisha, who is the minister for the 11 o'clock service, has a group meeting where they discuss her talk. So you are invited to join the conversation.
It's one of the most beautifully laid out gift stores. So it's not just books. It's really got wonderful, unique items you won't find anywhere else. So if you have any kind of birthday or any celebration coming up, check this out. It's pretty amazing.
You have that
Yes, and please
meditation
take
right
this
here.
handout with Sata Nama, because it is so life-changing to do that for, 20 minutes every morning. It will change your life.
They're up here. If you want to come up and take one of these, you'll have the Satanama meditation. To everyone, have an enlightened, beautiful day.